Well, good morning, Sharon, and thank you for coming onto our podcast today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm very excited. I'm always excited, but super excited. I was just talking to you about how it's now become the parenting collective because of all the people I want to collect for everyone for what I would have loved when I was going through all my parenting challenges, so getting everybody, the experts in their field to chat about what they do. So this one I'm super passionate about, and it's definitely, can be sleep related because we all need our sleep, is you are an ADHD coach. So you support families one-on-one, you have programs, and your business name is The Functional Family, or again, I don't like calling it business because it's our passion. Your hashtag, or your tag or your business is The Functional Family. And I was saying to you that the reason that I want to shed light on this is that ADHD has been my life journey that I didn't know I had. And all my challenges and overcompensating and, like I said, highly functioning anxiety and highly functioning at times depression. I just thought that was me. And then as our children became older, they were diagnosed sort of year 6-ish. And while going through that process, I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me. So that's my journey and my passion. And I'd love to, for you to explain to everyone what you do, how you got into it, and let's get started.
Excellent. Oh, thank you. And first of all, thank you so much. And I love hearing a little bit about your story there, because it's just such a common scenario in our beautiful community that perhaps we're focused on what the child is struggling with, and as we go through that diagnostic process for our kids, we start to think, oh, that sounds a little bit like me. And you know what? I'm so happy that we're sort of becoming more aware of what ADHD can look like, especially in females. That it's different. Like you'd mentioned, that overcompensating. I see that as a real trend, and now we're more aware of it, so we can pick it up in our daughters and our grandchildren, and we can get them the early intervention that all our age group missed. Like the kids with hyperactivity, they get diagnosed early, but often the girls show it slightly differently, and they miss out on all that early intervention, and it's kind of makes me sad. Yeah, it does. It really does.
It breaks my heart, but this is what I'm about, is sharing stories and opening it up, because people go, oh, I've got a bit of ADD. You don't want ADD. It's not what you want. And I'm like, I go, sure, probably everybody has, I don't know, maybe they do. But if you really look into it, it's actually, I now call it my superpower. I would not be who I am today, nor an entrepreneur, nor the person I am if I wasn't, for so many reasons, but also understanding, looking after myself and the burnouts and the anxiety, working on that, working on understanding my ADHD is probably the precursor to the other things, is what the psychiatrist said. Is often for women, you're diagnosed with anxiety and medicated, which I am and was. And then, like I said, I'm never like being down. So when I'm down or, depressed, I don't let myself be, but I've got better at that. But it's actually the neurodiverse ADD that contributes to that. So, and we've been through so much with our children. I've been able to support them, through that. And they understand. Yeah. And it is a superpower. Every time they go, oh, it's a disorder. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. If you can tune into your incredible brain, you might not like reading books and studying that way, but you might hear things and learn, or music, so that's what I want to talk about too, is the beauty behind it, if you can understand it.
There's just so many people with ADD and ADHD that are gifted at certain things, and it's just tuning in to those things that you're passionate about. You can actually focus better than everyone else.
Hyper focus.
Yeah, you've got skills, right? But it's about looking at what you're passionate, knowing a little bit about your brain, and working with it instead of against it all the time. We can't keep expecting people with ADHD to operate the same as neurotypical people. Like it just doesn't work. And it does a disservice for everyone. It does a disservice for the teacher in the classroom. It does a disservice for for the person with the condition. It does a disservice for the other kids in the classroom. Like it does a disservice for everybody. So it's about having that education that is so great. And that's why I like that you are talking about this, because I think it's important. And it's important to know that ADHD can look different in different people. You know, like I don't like it ever when people are like assume, oh, well, you know, I did this, and, you know, like I can do this, but and assume that their kid is going to be the same, or that they're, you know, because people can show it so differently and struggle with different things. We're all such unique humans, and it's really great.
And the other thing, getting back to because again, I'm a researcher with everything, is, and I saw this just recently, is you've got because people are like, what's ADHD? What's ADHD? Blah, blah, blah. So there's this big umbrella now that they don't really classify it, but it is quite distinctive. But the way that I like this explained, most girls are attention deficit, so not often hypo. I'm not saying that some aren't. A lot of boys come out of being quite hyper. So what the difference is, the girls will be the daydreamers and the ones that can't focus, and their minds are like hyper. And I thought, God, that's so true. But the boys show it. Yeah. So women and girls are often have been slipped through the cracks because of that. So that's an interesting thing too, you know, because usually, and where I want to go through with this is when families, the children start to get a bit older, and would love to ask about your expertise about, because I know when I've seen it before, it was way before it was diagnosed, but I didn't know. But, you know, where would parents start to think, you know, is this normal, or is it a little bit out of the norm? Like I know it's not an age, but what would be some signs, I suppose, as a mum, that there's a possibility? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is it depends, because it depends on the child. And like, say for the average age for diagnosis in Australia is like, I think it's between 7 or 8. Yeah. But to get in, we all know that the diagnostic process takes forever. You've got a year wait list, like it's a whole thing to get in to see someone. So I think parents are sort of flagging it about 5 or 6, but obviously the more hyperactive components there are, the sooner it gets flagged. I mean, my eldest Xavier, we knew like so early on. Like I knew like when he was like, but pretty much for sure by the time he was 2, you know, he was just a carbon cutout of like of my husband. Like they were so hyperactive. There was no mistaking it. But the other 2, you know, could much later. And so I guess it depends on how they're showing the symptoms, and also how aware the parents are. And that's, you know,
I wasn't aware. I was not aware. I just thought she was cute and this and that, and she so cute because of the attention deficit. The teachers loved her, particularly the eldest one, but she just, again, on reflection, I go, oh my gosh, why didn't the teachers pick it up? She'd just get up and just like massage the teacher, or, you know, like just couldn't see it. You know, not a naughty kid, not hyper, could not focus, you know. Yeah.
And not all kids will show their ADHD in you know, in oppositional behavior or defiant behavior. You know, like a lot of them, like my little one just went up to the teacher and went, oh, I'm just going to go. Like, I'm going to go up to the office, because he's like, this doesn't really interest me. Yeah. He's like, I'm just going to go. So he was perfectly respectful in the way that he was saying it, but he was just saying, I can't do it. I'm going to leave. Yeah. I'm going to go up and see the office.
And that can come across as they get a bit older as like not defiant, because not being rude, but it's not a lot of kids wouldn't do that, would they? They just wouldn't do it. They'd be like, I'm not going to do that. But, you know, like, so it's interesting, and it doesn't come quickly either. You know, it's not like, oh, that's it, you know, or nor do you want it. It's just being aware. I think if you're aware, you're going to be able to help your child have an easier journey at school. So with the eldest, she's just struggled, and so sporty, so musical. She got medicated, which she didn't want to do, and you know, we gave it a go. She is thriving. So she actually hates taking the medication anytime other than school. But now when she's older, she knows. She goes, oh, I have to take it because it won't go in my head. And isn't that amazing? Like she does it. The other thing is, I'm like, why don't you take it all the time? Like she goes, oh, it calms me down too much. Like, not that she's hypo, but she doesn't, when she needs it and focused and works, she'll do it, but she doesn't want to be like that. She wants to be arty and musical and all of that. So it's so interesting, you know.
And it's great that she's able to recognize that, and you know, you can tailor it. It's one of those medications that you don't have to you know, wean yourself off or on and all that sort of stuff like that. So for some people, being self-aware of how it makes them feel is great. I know my husband is the same. He didn't have medication through school, although he really wishes he had it. But you know, once he went into an office job for a little while, and he you know was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to need to be medicated for this. But now he's back out on the field. He doesn't think he needs it. So it's just being self-aware of what you need at that time, and you know, different stages of life. Like you hear so much, like when people when mums, they can cope really well until they have kids, you know.
Well, and I think that was the biggest thing for me, is I can look on reflection of how I was, but honestly, once you become a mum, there's a big fat mirror, I reckon, and then you can't run away from it. So you're like, oh, what's going on there? Why am I feeling like that? Why am I stressed? Why have I got no patience? You know, all of these things I didn't really have until I had kids, you know, which is an ADD thing in regards to emotions and stuff, which I didn't know.
And there's just so many balls in the air all the time.
Exactly.
So I can tell you a little bit about going back to your question before, a little bit about what we do and how we came to do it.
Yes, that's what we could talk all day. I'm a talker.
Oh, I could talk to you all day.
So yes, let's like I said, I think it's a fantastic space here, because getting back to that, particularly here in Perth, we cannot get into psychiatrists. You cannot. Like we had been trying for years and years and years, and you still couldn't. So we ended up going to a pediatrician, yada, yada, yada. You cannot get in. So the traditional path is you have to go to a psychiatrist to get that diagnosis. So, you know, people are stuck, really stuck. So yes, please explain what you can do for families that either have been diagnosed, or are you able to support them if they have the feeling that it might be it? Yeah, explain. Go ahead.
Well, basically how it all began.
Yes.
I married a incredible man that has ADHD, still as an ADHD coach, the most severe, like in terms of hyperactivity and things
really?
I've ever seen.
So were you like, whoa, when you met him, or was he medicated?
Well, he wasn't medicated, but he's able, he's got some really good masking going on, but he also is just very dynamic, and that's one of the things that I love about him, but also one of the things that is like kind of exhausting, but it's what attracted me to him in the first place. I love that his spontaneity and all that sort of stuff that makes ADHD exciting as well. And we got married and had 3 little boys, and all of them have ADHD. And we got some Tourette's, and we got some ODD and sensory processing and specific learning disorders in there as well. And we just looked around for support. Like there was, you know, obviously we were doing everything for the kids. We were, you know, we tried all these diets, and we tried like we were doing occupational therapy and there was psychology, and we're doing all these things. And like just quite honestly, everything was helping, but our home life really sucked. It was really awful.
You weren't getting the support on how to work with it at home.
It was just really exhausting, and I was burning out. Like I, you know, everyone around me is like really, like our family are all really big personality. There's no one quiet. It was like really loud. And
that's our house. People come and go, oh, this is quiet. Like, where are you going? We just got the 3 girls. You got the 3 boys. We got 3 girls.
Oh, it was just a lot to handle. So I was looking around for things that would support the whole family. And obviously I'm a researcher, so I was like researching everything I could about ADHD. We were trialing everything, and we just couldn't find very much in terms of supporting the whole family. Like I could just see that there was all these like women in particular that were burning out, like trying to raise kids with ADHD. Maybe they had it themselves, maybe they didn't, but it was everyone was just kind of exhausted, and everyone was kind of surviving every day instead of like being proactive. Like everyone was just coping. And we thought it was quite strange that there wasn't very much in the way of family support. And so I started, first of all, it didn't start as a business at all. It just started as a way of me coping with my own family. And I would run, like I'd be researching things about the ADHD brain, and then I'd run experiments on my own kids. I'd see what would happen when they came into a messy room to what would happen when they came into a minimalist room, and I was documenting it all because
love that stuff. Love it.
I was documenting it all just for my own purposes, And we started noticing clear patterns of what would work and what wouldn't work for the household, and working out different areas where there would be friction in the day. Like there would be friction in the mornings when we're getting dressed, and there would be friction like different times. And coming up with solutions, and actually working with the kids to come up with solutions for those times. And we found that there was some really clear patterning and what we could do to make it easier for everybody, not just the people that had ADHD, but
oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And so once I had it down, I shared it with the world. Basically, we created a program. It's grown so much. We have all these free resources on our website. We have a free 7-day program, a 6-week comprehensive program. We've got a membership coming out.
Awesome.
And then further to that, I started noticing the pattern of mums wanting to work with me, and then them having ADHD too. And I was noticing more and more that what you were describing at the beginning of the podcast, that was happening. And I thought, oh my goodness, like this is slightly different now, because what I was doing is I was working with mostly neurotypical mums where the dad, like they come through the dad's line. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go back and study to become a certified ADHD coach. So that's what I did. So now I'm coaching adults as well. And that has been so exciting. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
It's just been the best thing ever. It's totally different to what, so the one side of the business is like the parenting component, and it's a real done for you element. It's like lots of visuals in the house, and we're very systems focused about creating systems. And that is so exciting. And I get so excited when I see things working, and I think we've helped over 20,000 families. So it's.
For how long? When were you?
We've been going for about 6 years.
Oh my gosh, same as me.
Yeah, so I really love seeing that aspect of watching a family that is really struggling. To the part where they go, we're like they're having wins and they're making goals, and it's never going to be perfect, right? Like
never, but they're
never going to be perfect.
Yeah, amazing.
But they're getting those wins in, and they're able to do things as a family without all the screaming.
Excuse me, that was a sneeze on the podcast.
And then, and then also being able to work with the parents, the adults independently about their own ADHD, because what I've been learning through this journey, and it's been, a 13-year journey of studying ADHD, is that kids ultimately copy us, right? And so if the parents don't have the strategies to, manage their own things that they struggle with, the kids are gonna learn that. And so we've got to be able to teach our kids by doing, not just telling them. Like we can't just stick a pretty template on the wall and go, there you go, like,
or do as I say. And look, that is digging deep for me, because I look back on reflection and I didn't know I had it. I didn't, I was a nice person doing the right thing, but on reflection, I can't change the way I parented, but you could near on say it's 100% parenting. You can't say 100% because they are born with their own personality, there's no doubt. But everything that I've been through with parenting, and more recently with teenage girls, because you may as well have toddlers again, is the way we parented them, that authoritarian, like, you do the wrong thing, you go naughty spot, that it doesn't work, And so we've had to, again, research, study, get support to understand that we need to do this all the time. Number one is figuring yourself out, and not everyone wants to do that, nor thinks it yet. We're moving that way, but if you get the knowledge, like you just said, and really look at yourself and heal yourself, things change. And even when it's difficult, and especially with ADHD, kids with ADHD, they're often not pleasant, or really don't want you to do what you want them to do, and you have to regulate your emotions in a really shitty spot. And it's very easy for us to not do that. So it's being aware, isn't it? Like you educating, that's the trigger. And if not blaming anybody, but being very self-aware as parents will change the world. It will change.
Just get, treating ourselves with a bit of compassion as well. Because, I don't ever want to portray, and I've got to be careful with this in all our marketing and everything. I don't ever want to portray my family as some sort of perfect family. Like I almost call this company the dysfunctional family. Right? Like it's called functional because of executive function.
And also though, you're what and again, again sharing the stories is no one's is. not one single person's life is going to be perfect nor great at all times. There's grief, there's challenges, it's life. And so, you've got to roll with the punches. But I'm clearly hearing you've learned from experience and lots of research to give really great tools that can help calm the house down a bit. Because we have had such a chaotic house at places and times, because even though my husband's not diagnosed with all of this, I'm thinking, yeah, I think you've got it. And then, so you've got two people high, vibing, loud, it's up to us really, isn't it? Like how the house can be too. But there's always chaos still, but it's how we respond to the chaos.
Yeah. And it's about knowing where your where your lifeboats are, right? So if you are coming to when you're parenting kids with extra needs or extra kids that require that little bit of extra time, you need to have fuel in the tank, right? Because we know that when we're exhausted, oh man, I've made some crappy parenting decisions.
And that's why I'm so passionate about sleep. Again, if I didn't have ADD and all of this and my anxiety and stuff, and so passionate about sleep when I had my children, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, because sleep is number one for everyone's mental health, and especially when your bucket is full and it's just about to explode. If you haven't got sleep, you're going to explode. Well, maybe you won't.
I mean, it's important to know, even be able to be aware of, where your levels are, because we just can't be making great decisions when we're coming to it from a place of exhaustion. So that's where some of the functional family elements came in terms of making it easier. So I'm really passionate about anything that gives more time, more creates less effort, and gives space for joy. They're my three things that I love. Awesome. And some of that is just about we tend to view problem solving for ADHD the big stuff. We're oh, if they could, just emotionally regulate and all that sort of stuff. And all that stuff is really great. Yeah. But it's no good if you are battling for 1 hour about putting socks on it.
Oh no. Oh gosh, no.
You can't, those sorts of arguments will wear you down in your soul, right? Yeah. So you can't be effective at anything else, because every day you just my son, he doesn't like sitting with the seatbelt on him. So he sits there with the seatbelt off. So if that's a problem that you're facing every day, then that it wears you down, and that's when you start to explode over little things, because you're doing you've got too many tolerances that you're trying to tolerate all the time,
and you want perfection. And if you suffer from a bit of anxiety, and this is again through exactly how I felt, is I fought the fight, and my eldest was easygoing, my second not, and so I've had to learn to, well, for that example, the seatbelt's on. Okay, I'm not looking at it. I'm not saying anything, and I've got much better with that. But that's been a very long time of a lot of work. So, it's great to be a nice little package for you to support people like that.
Yeah, just a shortcut for them. Because sometimes, and that's the difference between adult coaching and when you're doing parenting coaching. Sometimes, the adult coaching, you've got a bit of room to really tailor it. And sometimes with parenting, they just tell me, just give me the shortcut. I've got a lot going on here. It's not that, and that's why we have different things that we offer for different people, because sometimes you just want the shortcut. Just give me the shortcut. Give me the stuff. Make it easier. Let's try it. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Let's just go. And so that's why we do different things, between the program, where it's the kind of the shortcut, the membership, and then the coaching, because not every person needs, no one needs all three, but different people respond to different ways of hearing the lesson. Some people want to have it little bits at a time. Some people just throw it at me, make it easy.
Help me. So do you also think that it's sounding like that your programs and support, you don't even have to have a thought of a diagnosis, that it might be just behaviorally in the family, and you're feeling a little bit like you're unraveling and you just need some structure? That sounds like it's not even just about a family that's got ADHD. Would you say that would sort of benefit any family that was feeling unraveled?
I don't think you need to have an ADHD diagnosis. No. I mean, most of the people that come through would be looking, if they hadn't had a diagnosis already, they would be looking down the barrel of one for sure. And that's because of my passion to want to help other families like mine ultimately, because I know when I was looking for things and Googling, there was just very little out there. There's a lot of parenting stuff, like exactly, but I just wanted, just give me the shortcut, like just give me the tools.
You know, and the tools, gosh, you know, I'm 48 and I keep saying it, but I have to own it. But I just think all the stuff we've just learned this year on parenting that I thought we knew and we've had to implement, which is sometimes my tongue's nearly been bitten off and, you know, like being screamed at or whatever, and we've done what suggested, there's changes. So that's the thing is like, you know, we've been parenting for a long time and no one knows how to parent, no one, but there are definitely some really great structures and foundations that work, that aren't the old school timeout, that aren't go to your room, the things that that was all we had, you know, still be positive and talk to them and all of that and did the best we could. But there are 100% strategies that you can use to make life a little bit more joyous.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the traditional parenting strategies just will not work on a child with ADHD and ODD. Like it just will not. Like it just won't.
It doesn't. And so we've tried that.
Yeah.
We tried it for a long time and our house fell apart, just telling you. And really fell apart. And so, but, you know, I would never give up, neither would my husband. We've researched, we've got the support, whatever. But that's probably been the interesting journey now on the other side of the shit show, shouldn't swear, on the other side of the, you know, dark place is really even from about 16 months, particularly one of the daughters, it didn't work. But that's all the tools we had. And so we've been doing that for all of these years. And it's now been just chaos because we didn't know how to parent that. And that traditional style does not work for a lot of kids, and not even just ADD kids or ODD kids. It's like literally some kids with a stronger personality, which is like, nope, don't care.
I really noticed that the one element that we could control in all the houses, you know, when we're working with families is tailoring that environmental aspect. So perhaps even moving you know, past parenting strategies, but looking like, or moving back from it, is looking at the environment around the ADHD brain. So different ways to, and that's what I was experimenting on in the early days with my own family, is looking at, is there some systems that we could put in place to stop banging our head against the brick wall every time we do this? And you know, really encouraging that collaborative approach with the kids. Like, what do you need? Like, what do you need to get this done? And really coming together with that connection, like that. It's that old saying, connection before correction. You know, but looking at, if you look at it in an environmental kind of aspect, like what is it that we could make our lives easier? Like, life shouldn't be like a fight every day. Like it doesn't have to be this hard. Of course there's going to be conflict, right? Like it's never going to be beautiful.
A lot of people living in the house, so of course.
But is there some ways that we could tailor this environment, like this family environment, to stop having repetitive, like the same conflict every day?
Love it.
And that's where it comes in, like really tailoring those home environments. Because if you can avoid having an argument every day, like about the seatbelt or the socks or whatever, then that is a win. That is a win. Because if you go to work in the morning and go, oh my God, I feel like I've done a whole day already. Like, you know, like the difference between going to work and doing that, or like dropping the kids off at school and crying in the car like I used to, or like, or, you know, getting to work and having that little bit of fire in your belly and a little bit more energy in the tank because you haven't had to battle all morning. So those can be a huge game changer for a lot of families.
Monumental. And I think that I feel like I'm getting to that place now, but it's taken 15 years, you know, and simple things like, as you're talking, I'm thinking again with ADD brains or not even just children, it's really good to have them understanding of what's coming next. So for example, if I just go, can you do the dishes? No way. But having a timetable for the 3 kids of what days they've got to do it, stop the fights. You know, just being them knowing what's happening the next day with not military precision, but just some simple things has completely changed our world. There's no arguments. It's like, oh, it's your turn, no worries. Where before that, there was fighting all the time. Like, so simple, isn't it? Like, so simple.
Just that visual, like, often people are visual learners, and having that visual there, and knowing that the ADHD brain underneath the ADHD is often a huge base note of anxiety, like you spoke about earlier, and it's an anxious brain. So to just have everything set out for them so they can see. Like my son always was like, what's for dinner? What's happening next? Drawing it up for them so they know what's happening. It just takes out that whole side of what do I have to do? That's why I don't love the word routines, but I say habits. Habits. Yeah. Like it's a habit, and we're all doing habits anyway, whether they're productive habits or unproductive habits, we're doing the same thing. I've got a thing when I brush my teeth, I like to rinse my mouth 3 times. It happens every day and it feels wrong when it's twice.
Exactly right.
We're all doing these habits, right? Yeah. So using that to take some of the anxiety away for our beautiful kids as well.
I needed you a long time ago. Let me tell you. Well, thank you so much. So, like I said, we'll put you in everything in the show notes. And thank you so much. You sound like you're an absolute lifesaver for lots of families. And so I can't wait to share you.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
No worries. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.